I was
So
about to
I'm
say
hoping they make a turn here in the
I was
near
about to say it's a
future.
big football school. I know
Yeah.
that big football. That's what I mean. Finished up my career there. Then, before I headed out to McMurray, I started coaching when I was about 18, 19 for Cooperstown Cobras out in Hazlitt with Sean Morgan and Chad Treadway.
Okay.
Did about 2.5 years there, and then when I would come home for winters and summer breaks, that's where I would do some coaching and all that. And then when I finished playing, I ended up wanted to finish school down in Texas State. And so I actually got hooked up with what was called Clutch Athletics,
Okay.
and now they're now known as Lone Star Baseball Club, which is pretty renowned national baseball organization.
So let me jump in real quick too. So we skipped over your whole playing career. We started out at Arlington, Martin, then went to college. What positions did you play?
I was a pitcher.
Okay.
I was a pitcher my junior senior year of high school. That's all I did in college. I was right-handed. I would say my curveball was definitely my best pitch. That was a pitch, man. I feel like I could throw that in any count.
First pitch,
3-2, 10 pitch at bat.
Yeah.
Like it didn't matter. Like
still coming with it.
Yeah, I'm still coming with it.
Let it tumble.
It definitely it was awesome, and it was something I was very confident in. That's definitely something in my coaching perspective. What I tell the kids all the time is, at the end of the day, you got to grip and rip what you're most comfortable with.
Show them the grip on the. How did you hold it?
So I was two different ways. So
Okay.
I would go two seam, basically grip, right, where I'd kind of just hook over a little bit, come over the top, and then in college, trying to just get more spin, more drop. It was more 12-6, 1-7 action, and I kind of went more just over the horseshoe. And I mean, I would just really tumble the middle finger thumb,
Just let it go,
and just rip.
Yeah.
I had one of my college roommate in junior college. He said, just throw the piss out of it.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of adapted to that, and it went to a different level in college.
That's awesome. So let's back up even further than that too, right? So we're all part of youth baseball. That's kind of what we're here talking about, right? What was youth baseball back like? Yeah, what were you there? Probably 2004, 2008, somewhere in that area.
Yeah, somewhere in that area.
How many teams were there? What was the competitiveness like? Were there tournaments every weekend?
Oh, I mean, as far as teams, teams today to teams back then, it doesn't even compare. Like there was minimal teams back then. Now there's just an abundance amount, right? But I would say, as far as competitive wise, it almost feels like back then was a little bit more competitive, just because again, the sake of less teams, right? You kind of more stacked rosters, if you will. It was tournaments were, I would say, still every weekend, but it wasn't the luxury of
turf.
Turf, definitely.
Two umpires on the field.
Huge. Oh, dude, we had one for so many tournaments when I was growing up. But then the fact of being able to drive just 20 minutes to a tournament, back then it was, you're driving North Dallas, you're driving to Houston, you're driving to Oklahoma, like that's where you played. It wasn't anything close.
And we've talked a little bit about that too. Like there's two sides there. Like some people are like, it's not as competitive, but it also gives a lot of people a lot more opportunity now too, where you can, like, as a coach, really step in and develop some of those kids that probably wouldn't have been able to play tournament baseball back when you did.
Yes.
Now you can develop them to something special for them to play on a high school team or even a college team.
Oh, 100%. I mean, it's, for me, it's been almost like eye-opening experience doing what I'm doing now for the last 4 or 5 years, and just seeing the opportunities that the kids you were able to help back then or for now compared to back then, right? Like back then it was almost kind of like that, that 5-star look where, again, if you're not a 5-star athlete, like, okay, next guy, you know what I mean? But now you get the chance to help develop kids to potentially become that 5-star athlete, right?
That's awesome.
And yeah, man, it's definitely different, but like I said, definitely trending in the right direction.
Cool.
So let's talk a little bit about, because you said earlier before the show started that you started with a 10U group and now they're 14. How hard is it, or how difficult is it to keep those kids together and keep that train rolling to getting better?
Oh yeah, I mean, dude, I think I tell everyone I come across, and I tell the families of that team, I mean, what we have is special. You don't see that often, especially for that amount of time put into it, right? What I've seen in just coaching and just being around the game long enough, people are attracted to winning, and not so much focused on the bigger picture, right? And so like you get that family or that kid that's known as like a team hopper, right?
Yeah.
And so for us to have no team hoppers, really, right? It's just a sheer victory in itself. But like I said, man, it's just crazy to see where we were to where we are now. Because I mean, we were a true full development AA team when we first started.
Almost single A.
Oh yeah.
What are y'all now?
I would say we're probably high end AAA, pushing majors, if you will. You know, they've gone out in major tournaments and had success. They've traveled to Houston. They've traveled to North Dallas, to the Melissa Complex, and competed very highly and very well.
And here's the real question. So you say you have a group of kids that's been together since 10. So that'd be 10, 11, 12, 13, going into our 14th. So that'd be 8 seasons plus this season, which would be 9 seasons essentially for spring and fall. How many of those kids from your 10U team are actually still there? Because a lot of people tell me they have these teams that have been together a long time, and then you look and they have 3 kids.
Oh no. So I mean, I got, just thinking off the top of my head, you know, Zachary, Hayden, Cade, Knox, Jet, Griff. Or Griff wasn't there. Sorry. Let me retract that one. Trying to think of all the kids now. You threw me on the spot. I want to say it's at least 5 to 6 kids.
You have a core group, right?
Yeah,
Like,
it's a core group, right? Where again, and then I would say the rest, we picked them up when they were 11 and 12.
So Griff's been there a while.
Yeah, Griff's been there since.
Name.
Yeah,
I love that.
Jason Griffin. That's
I thought his name was Griff.
So we call him Griff.
Better.
Man. It's he doesn't go by Jason though. It's Jet, that kid. I having that one since I was 10 to see his. I mean, he was very, very small. Still not our biggest guy, but my goodness, he walks and talks like he's 7 feet tall.
That's good. I love it.
He's just a dog.
I'm a little guy too. I need to walk and talk like I'm
I'm telling you, he's our spark plug, I would say. You know,
what position does Jet play?
Jet plays just about anywhere you ask him to play. You know, he's mainly second base center field. And
he'll hide the knife for whoever did the stabbing too, right?
100%.
Yeah,
100%. And if you need an inning or two, you know, if he's like, hey, bro, I really need you to eat me an inning right here. Go get me 3 outs. It's like, done. You know,
just walks up there, just like dragging the ball.
Literally,
ready. walks up to bat with the bat, just dragging behind him. Like, I'm going up here to do work.
Literally, I don't think there's any like thought or mentality or planning into his pitching when we need him to pitch. I think it's just like go get outs. Like, I'm here to get you out. That's
perfect.
Love that. Yeah, he's an awesome kid. Man.
Way to go, Jet.
Yeah.
So another question I have, I mean, since you've had that core group that's been together for a while, is what are your? I guess it's a 2-part question. So what are your thoughts on pickup players? And then 2, how often would you say you have to grab them?
So pickup players, I mean, you know, especially as like our organizational belief on that is we try to go in-house first.
Right.
You know, we try to give our Sox families first dibs, if you will. You know, now granted, if it's an age thing, that might be something we talk about, right? Or if it's, you know, obviously availability thing too, right? If ages or availability don't match, then, you know, then yeah, we do try to go out there and get some players outside of our organization. But, you know, as far as like them coming from outside, I mean, it's obviously awesome just because, again, they get to see what we're about, right?
Yeah.
They get to wear that hat.
And they get to wear the awesome uniform. You know, the awesome uniform, the awesome hat, you know. So
well, I know on my end it's a pain in the butt. I mean,
for sure.
Especially in the fall. The fall is so difficult with, you know, other sports going on and the pickup players. We'll have teams this weekend alone. We had probably 3 or 4 teams that added players. And if you know anything about PG, you know that PG corporate has to approve those players, and so we got players that don't get approved because they get added after 5 o'clock on Friday, and it's just I'm sitting here trying to get somebody from PG to answer the phone and to approve these kids, and it's just
it's a mess.
It's a chore.
I'm telling you, and that's, you know, I think that also, you know, I think kind of we have to give credit to our Sox families is like we're very fortunate, like communication, like they communicate like, hey, we're not going to be there this week, like.
Yeah.
Here you go. You know, very rarely have I ever had a situation where I'm kind of like hand tied, if you will, right? Like where I don't have enough, or I do have to try to go out to like use Facebook. I mean, Facebook, the marketing for today's game, I'm telling y'all, if I would have had that when I was playing, like there's no telling like who I could have come in contact with.
I don't know if I said this on the show or not, but I think I may have, but because of the name of our organization, I get messages on Facebook. Hey, I got a 9-year-old that's looking to play. I'm like, hey, that's great. I don't run teams. Go to North Texas versus the World and just put your info in there and you'll get bombarded.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
literally, it's. I feel like if you want to play,
Yeah.
like it's very easy to be able to be picked up.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, no, like I said, man, pick up players and doing that. I think it's obviously it's good for the kids. It's good for the families. It's good for the organizations. Now, there is some situations, where I kind of don't agree with. Right. Like for instance, if you pick up a kid and outside of your organization, especially, right, and you put them 3-hole and they're playing more than any of your other kids on your team.
That can be a problem.
Or like one of your kids goes out and helps out, like say a friend's team, right? I've had experience with this where had one of my kids go out and they threw the kid 140 something pitches in 2 days.
Oh wow!
And I was, as you can imagine, I was not very happy.
Yeah.
When that happened, but it is what it is. And
some of that's on parents though too.
Oh, I agree.
I think a lot of that is
Yeah.
parents. We had a pickup player with our Smurfs team over the summer, and the parent coach had told them, "Hey, he doesn't know how to pitch. He pitched a lot. Kid didn't pitch.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They asked me not to. Kid wasn't going to pitch.
Yeah.
I was happy to have him on the team. He's my buddy. I've known him since he was like 7 years old, and it was more about I just wanted kids and friends on the team than I needed an ace. And when they told me that he can't pitch, okay, bro, we don't need you to pitch. Go out here, come out and have fun. Wear a Smurfs jersey. You know what I'm saying?
Where I
that
never
pack tournament.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! I saw that name. I said, "Wow, that's one of the greatest baseball names I've ever seen."
Yeah, and you know what? I don't know if you saw the names on the back of the jersey. It's like we picked all Smurf names. Like my son said Smurfette. One of the guys was like a hefty Smurf.
Oh,
One
I
of them
love
was
that.
like a
I love
handy
that.
Smurf. We actually played pretty well for the
Yeah, I was supposed
team
to say, y'all did well.
that got picked up. Mark's team Gabe's team over there took a bat to us, and like I said, they had a little 14-year-old kid who hit it 310 feet over the scoreboard. But I mean, it was a good game. We lost pretty handily, but it was a great experience. I hadn't coached in probably close to 2 years, and to put together just a bunch of kids that I knew,
Yeah.
and they went out there and had a flipping blast with it.
Oh, dude,
I think we finished like
that's
around the
huge.
horn. I think they finished first. I think they finished second in the home run derby, and we had like the 2 fastest kids and the fastest man.
that's all you needed to do right there, man. That you made all those kids. They'll remember that week for the rest of their life.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like that's what it's all about,
talk to us a little bit about where you think the state of youth baseball is. More importantly, like tournament ball. We've talked about this on the show. It's gotten a little crazy over the last couple of years with the interactions with the umpires. So I mean, kind of give me your opinion on where that's at and where you think it's going. If we're going in the right direction, if it needs some work, or
Well, I mean, I say this to a lot of. I mean, I try to remember every umpire's name. I try to remember every coach's name I coach against. And a conversation I feel like I have a lot with these other coaches is I wish youth baseball can be played just with the kids and coaches and umpires. Like parents, you can watch on Game Changer, you can watch it live or whatever. But like because again, some of the parents, it does get out of hand, right?
Yeah.
And it's just, and I get it. Like emotion is a real raw thing, and people can not show their true colors, but just competitiveness brings it out of you. As far as youth baseball, I think it's at an all-time high as far as exposure goes, as far as the ability to be able to go out and play goes. One thing I think, me personally, I think in the fall, what I would like to see, is more like one-day tournaments or double-header leagues out there. Right?
Yeah.
Just because again, it's fall, right? I mean, Texas, we're fortunate to start playing really at like kind of end of January, early February, and then some teams run it all the way through August.
Oh man,
all the way through August. And then
some of those weekends it's too cold and too hot.
Yeah,
it's not worth it.
It's not worth it. And then let alone just the amount of playing you do, right? And then,
kids play more baseball than major league players. Like
That's
it
what I'm
starts in January, ends in November. They got a month off for Christmas.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Yes.
And then you're like, okay, I just played 10 months of baseball, and I'd say 90% of the kids play other sports too. So they're figure that it's just it's crazy.
I was talking to my partner Randy Sykes, who started the Texas Soxs organization. We both coached 2 teams in the spring. I helped coach with his high school group in the summer. We were kind of doing them. I mean, we're talking about he's north of 180 games from February to the end of August.
Man.
That's and again, I mean, he's got a wife, he's got a family and all this stuff. And so I mean, he's now having to give his time away to, granted, this is what we signed up for. This is what we love to do. But at the same time, that's a long season, man. It's a long season. So.
Yeah.
And I think we've started, my son's 15, so he started doing the double headers on Sunday.
Yeah.
And it's 2 2-hour games. They're back to back.
Yeah.
You get like 4 hours of baseball. Yeah. I mentioned this a couple weeks ago. The umpires have been great. I haven't heard anyone really give any issue. I don't know if it's because the kids are older or if the umpires are better. And then the one that we're in, they do like a player of the game.
Oh, nice.
So they posted on Twitter. Like we had a kid who had hit a walk-off line drive over second base.
There you go.
And the kid has worked really, really hard. So it's really special to see for that kid.
Oh,
and then the next game, another kid that's worked really, really hard to earn his playing time. Both these kids didn't get a lot of playing time. He was the player of the game in the second game of the line drive to center field. And you're just like, man, that's pretty cool. These kids have that Twitter post that they're going to have for the rest of their life.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it'd be cool if you, like, some of these organizations started doing a little bit of that. And I know, like, a couple of them have, because I see it on.
For sure.
I think it's great. Like, I think 24 Sports does it. I think Premier Prospects does it. 5 Tool does it.
Yeah.
So I think those things that they're doing, that's so cool for the kid.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, even if you're 8 all the way up to like 15, 16, like, there ain't nothing better than that. Like, look, like at 16, like, who's the player of the game, baby?
Yeah.
I mean, I'd show everybody that, wouldn't you?
Oh, dude, I'm telling you,
sure they do.
Kids eat that up.
I mean, I would eat it up right now if I.
It's good. I love it. Trust me.
Co-ed softball. You get the Twitter feed. Hey, I went 2 for 3 today, baby, with 2 singles and 4 RBIs.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I think the doubleheader stuff it's huge. I think in the fall,
Yeah, like you said, you get 4 hours of baseball with good umpiring. Like I said, I've not heard one person on any team say something to the umpire.
No, I mean, our 13U group does it, and they actually went out and just found a couple different organizations and teams.
Yeah,
they're like, hey,
round robins.
We'll split it. We'll split it. The field. We'll split the umpires. That way, when we're not doing it every single weekend, I mean, you have your 4 or 5 hours. You're out there on the field, and then bam, you're done. You get your other. I think they do it on Saturdays too. So it's like you get your whole weekend essentially, right? Like I don't know if you know who Michael Clements is, the Navarro coach, and I saw a post he made, and again, I sat there and I kind of like was looking to myself. I was like, okay, like that kind of makes sense, when he was talking about, parents, like where do you find the value in spending your whole weekends out there, right? Where, say, for instance, on a Saturday you're out there for. Granted, now if you don't get the back-to-back game, I mean, you could possibly be out there for 7 hours, right? And say little Timmy Turner gets 4 at-bats. You spent your whole day essentially for 4 at-bats, and then as an organization, you paid north of $500. Some of these tournaments are like $700 after gate fees and everything like that. And then obviously the gate fees for independent like families and parents and brothers and sisters and uncles all come out. I mean. I said, I just saw, I was like, okay, that's a fair like argument like you can make. And I think it's a good topic point to talk about,
I can tell you, like, from what I've experienced, and this is kind of a running joke amongst tournament directors, people just don't want to be at home.
No, that's another thing I don't doubt.
I think a lot of things have changed. Like we've talked about how like youth baseball's changed over time.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of that's changed for people like hanging out with friends and stuff too. Like, everyone's got privacy fences. Where I grew up, like there was like chain link fence. You talk to your neighbor. People don't really do that anymore.
No.
And youth baseball kind of brings that back. Like,
yes,
I joined a new team, and my son joined a new team last spring, spring, and we all became best friends. We haven't played together since like June, and we still talk 10 times a day. Yeah. We're sending stupid memes to each other, and it's kind of became that. Like, that becomes your group of friends for the parents too. So your weekend is not just watching your kid play baseball, it's watching your friends' kids play baseball and hanging out with the groups of people that you're making.
I mean, dude, my little group, my 11U group, it's funny. It was over the summer, I think. It was one of their birthdays, and the parent told me it was like they had more of their baseball friends at their party than their school friends.
Crazy.
So I was like, I mean, because like I said, I think that's part of being on a team, and that's what that brings out, right? But at the same time, I think being a part of an organization that helps out too. You're around tons of different families and kids, and then you might might go to school with a kid that's a grade older than you
Yeah.
or a grade below you. You see him in the hallways, right? But now you're seeing him at your facility or on the weekends, and like I said, it just creates that environment. I think
Well, there's 4 people in this room right now, and what brought us together?
baseball.
And would have we ever been brought together if there wasn't for youth baseball?
No,
No, I mean it's crazy when you think about it.
100%, man. I mean, youth baseball has opened up, I think, endless doors, endless.
Yeah, I think.
And full Yeti cups.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's definitely I can definitely attest to seeing a lot of at the fields.
I wonder what percentage of those have water in them.
That's
Probably one. Excuse me, but I'm dying today. I think it's most prevalent when we have rain.
Oh yeah.
Right, we get rain, and I can't tell you how many. Are we gonna do it one day?
Oh yeah.
Can we get this in? And then I have parents calling the cities, complaining to the cities that we canceled. And I'm just like, there's standing water on the fields. What else can we do? You know?
I mean, I think that's the beauty of turf, right? It's like, I mean, turf is endless opportunities to play, I think, no matter what the weather is, right? And so I think that's where you start to see a lot of, especially organizations, you know, because at the end of the day, like their promise is to these families that you're going to play these amount of tournaments, get these amount of practices, and so on, right? And so like playing on turf fields is like 100% like guarantee almost, right?
Yeah.
You know, so I definitely can see that for sure.
Yeah, and you know what? I mean, rain happens. It doesn't happen very often in Texas either.
No.
What do you think about it? You don't get rained out that often, and it does. I think it was probably more devastating to kids when it's like 7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
When they get a little bit older, they're like free weekend, baby.
Bro.
Like
yes.
So I mean, it happens. But I mean, I grew up in Minnesota, so I never played in 110-degree heat on a turf field either, though. You know, that gets pretty tough out there too.
Dude, and that's the other thing is like, you know, with parents talking about like youth baseball and parents. I mean, dude, some of these umpires that are out there, like especially on like the high school, what I saw, like there's one guy we were out there. We had 2 of our high school groups out there at the same time. They played 4 games in a row. It was one team played 2, the next one played 2. There was the same home plate umpire behind the plate for all. I'm like, there's no way this guy can see straight.
You heard what we're doing, right?
What are we doing?
So I'm going to get trained as an umpire.
Oh, let's go. I love this.
And at one of his tournaments, I'm going to umpire a game, and I'm going to be behind the dish. And we're looking for teams that would be open to having somebody that's new at umpiring do it. So maybe your Sox team.
Oh, for sure.
Well, if you get in one of those tournaments, I'll pick that game.
Oh, for sure.
That way,
I love
to throw you out.
Oh, hey, I mean, I'll definitely kick some dirt around.
No, that's good. Hey, that's it. I think this is going to be a fun bit. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like, I know baseball, but I don't know all the stuff about being behind the plate and all that.
There's a lot that goes to it, man. That was my first job. I worked for the Grand Prairie Boys, not little league, but their little organization out there in the Grand Prairie fields, and it was under Gene Campbell. And to get that perspective, right? Like, because at this time I'm like 15 years old, thinking I know everything because I'm 15 years old, and to get that perspective and to finally understand like what these guys go through on a every weekend basis, like parent just. There's 100 umpires out there on the field, but there's actually one or 2 that are actually officiating.
And I mean, pitchers are this close to the strike zone all the time, so you don't know what's called. That's what I said. It's going to be kind of difficult. The only thing that I'm saying is I'm not doing it if it's over like 87 degrees, and I'm not doing it if it's under like 48.
Oh, dude, cold baseball. I think cold baseball is worse than hot baseball. I think it's definitely worse, just because, dude, you're stagnant. You're not. Obviously, baseball, you're not moving a ton, right? And then obviously with Texas, especially recently, I mean, dude, it gets cold. It gets cold. It's not fun. And so,
hey guys, real quick, we're gonna move into our segment, our YBT's top 5 plays of the week. So y'all enjoy this.
Get your plays in.
Yes.
We had a lot more this week, but we need more.
Yes. So get y'all's plays in, and we enjoy watching them and picking the top 5. So y'all enjoy this.
Now the little boy doesn't say a word, picks up his ball, he is undeterred. Says, I am the greatest there has ever been. He grits his teeth and he tries it again. And the ball goes up and the ball comes down, swings his bat all the way around. The world's so still you can hear the sound. The baseball falls to the ground. He makes no excuses, he shows no fear. He just closes his eyes and listens to the cheer. Little boy adjusts his head, picks up his ball, stares at his bat, says, I am the greatest, the game is on the line, and he gives his all one last time. And the ball goes up like the moon so.
Hey guys, so that was our top plays. We'll discuss them a little bit here. You know, our number one play was a inside the park home run by a young man that plays for Wild Factor. As you can see from the video, he was scooting around the bases pretty good. Matt, I think you had that one number one, right?
Yeah, I had that one number one, and I think a lot of it has to go with the kid was mic'd up, right? And you can hear him just around the bases, right?
Yeah.
And that was great. Like, I mean, the kid was giving everything he had. He hit the ball really well, and then he took off. And like when you can hear a kid panting around the bases, I don't understand how that can't be the top play of the week. You know what I'm saying? Like if you listen to it after he crosses first, like I mean, he's giving everything he's got. There's nothing better than somebody giving everything they got.
Well, for me, it was a celebration, right? All his teammates are out there at the end, right? And they're going nuts, and you can hear that through the mic up. I mean, obviously we didn't catch it in the play, but that's kind of what sold it for me was the celebration at the end. Last week we had 3 out of the 5 were catcher's plays.
Yeah.
This week we had 2 double plays and we had 2 home runs.
Yeah.
So it was kind of neat to see the different plays come in this week. And
I really like the other one with the pitcher heads straight up, beelines it between home and third, and lays out and catches the ball too.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a great play too.
Pitchers are athletes. Don't forget that.
Yeah. And that home run that was over the fence, I think that was the Fort Worth Cats. I don't know how deep that fence was, but
300 plus.
Was it really?
Yeah.
What a bomb! And the whole team came out and celebrated with them. That was great. And yeah, double plays were great too. I think the double play one was a diving play to stop it right, and then a pitch over.
Yeah. I didn't think we'd see many double plays because you just don't see very many of them in youth baseball. But tonight we had 2 of them. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. It's fun to watch stuff like that. Hey, pitchers, throw ground balls at the runner on first. Guess what happens?
That's right.
You know, I mean, keep the ball low. They're gonna hit the ball on the ground and get 2. That's easy. So we need more of the Soxs sending in top plays. We haven't got any from you guys yet. How many are we gonna get from you guys this weekend?
Oh, I mean, now that I know this is a thing, I mean, I plan on videotaping every play of the game, and I guarantee you're gonna get quite a few.
That's good.
We got some ballers, man.
That's
good.
We
got some ballers,
and that's what we're looking for. Is we want more people sending these in. Like a Nakona glove isn't cheap, right?
No.
So we're giving away at least 1 Nakona glove for the top play of the year. We're looking at another glove, and like I said, every week, one of these winners is going to get either a pack of cards or an autographed baseball or football card. So
Matt, they'll also the number 1 play of the week will also get eye black or maybe some batting gloves. That's in the works. So make sure y'all send it in if you want to get a chance to win eye black, autograph cards, whatever we have. So get them in.
Are you all right over there, Mike? I think we're gonna have to resuscitate you, man. Come on, bro. you need some Hall's methylyptus or whatever.
Man, I've sucked down 2 of them already, man. I'm over here choking to death.
Remember those little Lunds ones? Was that what they're called? They're like cherry flavored.
Yeah,
it was just like candy. It wasn't even like a real cough drop.
Oh, dude, I ate those like candy.
I think they'd be around your house. Like didn't have candy at home. I'm gonna pick some of those up on the way home.
I was like, I want a sweet.
So we have a rules corner. Mikey, give us a rule that maybe in the past has confused your parents a little bit. Maybe we can discuss that.
So actually happened just a few weeks ago. My 11U group was out. We're playing in I think it was a pack tournament, and we were at Texas Star, and there was a kid threw from third to first, overthrow, ball went to the dugout, right? And so, and again, this 11-year-old kid, like, who was running the bags, like, was just clueless what to do. And obviously his coach was like, hey, go to the next bag or whatever, right? Well, my parents just absolutely erupted. They're like screaming, tag him, tag him, tag him. I'm just like,
Tag him for what?
I'm like, wait, what? Like,
Yeah, what do we
and
tag?
like my kids are like looking at me, and they're like, do I tag them? I'm like, no, like it's dead ball, it's dead ball. And so being able to, like, after the game, talk to the parents and be like, hey, this is what happened.
And that's why I tell parents, leave it to the coaches to coach these damn kids.
Yes,
But
yes.
the question we had, it was similar to this last week, right? I think last week he had an issue at the baseball complex. So maybe you can see if you can answer it.
Okay.
You want to see if he knows what it was?
Yeah, so pitch ball deflects off the catcher, goes into the dugout.
Runner on second.
Runner on second was stealing third.
This was my game.
Was it?
This was my
Oh,
game.
okay.
I literally called
Your game that we
this
botched?
was my game.
There you
I
go.
called him. So this is what happened.
You talked to my dad, but you didn't talk
Oh,
to me.
sorry. I talked to the dad. My bad. So this is what happened. I'm running it all down.
That is so ironic.
Wasn't it?
Here's
I
the
didn't even know.
crazy-
How crazy is the question we come up with? It was his game.
So my pitcher is in motion, delivers the ball. Kid then takes off, like, he steals, right? He's stealing, I would say, probably as he's lifting the leg, right? Ball gets by the catcher, and there was like this padding that was behind home plate, right? And it was like the one spot where it was like kind of like ripped off the fence,
Yeah.
and it got stuck in there, right? And so my catcher, just being a 9, 10, 11-year-old kid, and was like, what do I do? Like,
Yeah.
the ball's stuck behind this thing. So like he goes in, grabs it out of the thing, and like the kid that stole third, like, was at third looking what to do, and like his coach is like, go home or whatever. And so anyways, kind of ball ends up being dead for a minute. And so we call umpires and I come together, we start talking. In my opinion, it's a timing play, right? As far as like the pitch being delivered, the kid still in the bag, where he is, like, okay, if it's a dead ball, right, and the ball goes out of play, right, okay, yeah, you get your one bag, right? Well, it was being advocated that he was supposed to get 2 bags because he was already at third when it all happened. And so, like I said, it ended up, I spoke to your dad, ironically, and he told me that I was correct, that the kid should only have gotten third base, right? Well, then the umpires didn't agree with it or whatever, and so they then allowed the kid to score. And again, did it really matter? Because again, it's 11-year-old baseball, first off, but the kid would have scored on the next hit anyways, right? It was, I think, 1 out, and the next kid got a base hit, right? So the kid would have scored regardless, but it was just the principle of knowing, like, what to do, right? And so then they brought over the commissioner for their umpiring group, right? And at first I told him what happened. He kind of agreed with his umpires, but then I think he got some more information. And this is what I think, Mike, I respect the heck out of your tournaments, right? Is your umpires, the humility that they're willing to eat crow, pretty much. The commissioner of the umpires was literally came onto the field, into my dugout, and goes, look, man, looked it all up, talked it over with some other people, got more facts. You were right. This is what should have happened.
It's amazing.
And I was like, dude, just the fact that you came over and did that to me, I respect the heck out of you. Like,
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, number one job of the umpire is just get the call right.
And that's what I told him. I was like, it's just the principle of, just getting the call right, because at the end of the day, it could happen again.
Yeah.
And I was not going to let it happen again, because I sent one of my parents to the parking lot, give me some zip ties, and I tied that sucker to the fence. I said, not on my watch again. Like, I'm not letting this happen again. And so, but like I said, it is what it is. And yeah, but at the end of the day, the kid should have got 1 bag, but it is what it is, right? It's just one of those things where you live and you learn. Right. And I think everyone learned.
Yeah, I think another rule that I kind of want to discuss is the dead ball double play. And so what I mean by that is a lot of times people don't understand that, if you have a runner on first, ball's hit up the middle, they're trying to turn a double play, and they want the kid to slide.
Yes.
Well, he doesn't have to slide. I mean, the rule is
give up. Right.
He either has to peel,
Yep,
give off, right?
peel or duck or slide. I can't tell how many times they want us to call it dead because the kid didn't slide.
Yeah.
But he didn't
I've seen
interfere
that
with the
happen.
play. So
Yeah, I've seen that happen where the kid is running to second base. They're out by 30 feet
Oh yeah.
and they don't slide and they peel off and they still get called for interference on it.
I'm just like,
And you're like, I mean, did they affect the play? No, right? They gave themselves up. They weren't involved in the play. That's not interference. You're absolutely right.
yeah. I mean, that's what I tell the kids all the time. Like, if you're the first base runner and you're running second on that play, just get out of the way. Like, peel off. Don't even.
Yeah, but
try.
sometimes you get called for that that's what he's saying. Is
That's crazy to me because at the end of the day,
but it does happen.
It's yeah, that's crazy because overtly, like they are getting out of the way.
Were they supposed to slide halfway to second?
yeah.
Like, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, he's
Just
like
absolutely, like, hitting
slide,
around.
like, it's like Willie Mays Hayes. He's like, come on. But you're like, instead of that, they're like 48 feet away still.
That's crazy. That's crazy that happened.
Yeah. I mean, I think the biggest thing, from just a safety standpoint is, when I see it and I tell kids, look, I get it. You don't want to slide, but man, you don't want to get hit in the face with a baseball.
No, 100%.
You might want to think about, peeling off, ducking, taking a knee, something, right? I mean,
Yes, I mean, it's. I think it's crazy though that they get called out for getting out of the base path.
I mean, it is what it is. Like, the slide has kind of been taken away from the baseball player anyway. 20 years ago,
Yeah,
they were cleats up. They didn't start slides. They were
Kneecaps.
after the bag.
kneecap.
Yeah.
hey, we had a drill when I played. They would take a duffel bag and fill it full of towels and throw it at you while you were trying to turn a double play. I mean, that's how much it was a part of the game. This was 20 years ago, but it's changed a lot in those 20
I'm
years.
glad it has.
Yeah.
No, for sure, definitely the safety. It's less injuries for sure at the youth level I've seen.
And even at the major league level, you don't need to be barreling over a catcher.
no,
I mean, that's just, I get it. That's something you still see parents yelling at too. It's
dude.
like, take them out. Like,
Oh, dude, I had one of my 11-year-old kids. God bless his heart. He's one of the sweetest kids I think you'll ever come across. Heart of gold. Was caught in the moment. Was running away. Was caught in the moment, and third baseman got the ball. And like as soon as he picked up the ball, like this kid was just chest bam, ran this kid over. And like, of course, like their parents went nuts. Understandably, I get it, but it is what it is.
yeah, it happens for sure.
It's stuff happens, and that's just. I don't think it's malicious or anything like that. You know what I mean? And so it's crazy how people will just scream at their kid though to take another kid out.
Yeah. I get it too. That mentality is sometimes there.
No, oh yeah, no, for sure. Like especially the old head version and thought process of baseball,
Yeah.
right? Is like, hey, that dude's there. You do what you got to do.
Hit him in the head. Beat him. Take him out.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit. How about like I know at the major league level, it's still it's still part of the game where they'll throw at guys. Do you? And I don't. I'm not at the field as much as I used to be, but do you see that at the youth level anymore?
I feel like I don't think it comes from the coaches. I think sometimes, kids, again, this is kind of like that competitiveness that brings it out of them.
Yeah.
Right. Sometimes they get mad. And
Yeah.
Definitely. You can see it. Right. Like for instance, this past summer, one of my high school boys hit an absolute just bomb. And I mean, was definitely a little mouthy. I mean, I think that's, you got to blame a little bit of Major League Baseball to that, because again, you see the big bat flips, the chirping and all that stuff. Right. And so again, he was just living his moment, but then next kid up, ball was right at the dome, and thank God it didn't hit him. But I mean,
that started almost an all-out brawl a couple weeks ago in a major league game.
Oh,
I don't know if you saw it, but
yes,
guy
it just
stares it down, and the pitcher says something to him, and then the catcher meets him at the plate.
Oh, dude, it's just like.
So let me ask you something too. Then let's to take a little bit off of that too. Let's go back to something that coaches can get a little bit more involved in. Stealing signs. Okay.
Oh, where's me out?
Okay, like.
That's part of the game.
Okay, but is it part of the game to a certain extent, right? How about a coach at third base seeing the catcher sign, yelling curveball, or hey, just say the last name. If it's curveball, it's Wallstrom, or if it's first name, it's Matt. Like, I get stealing signs because it is part of the game, but so is throwing at kids, right? Because if you're saying the same thing, then you have to be open to that too, right? So
yeah,
I'm not saying to throw at kids. I wouldn't strike that, but I also, as a third base coach, wouldn't be yelling to Mike over there going curveball, especially at 9, 10, 11, 12. I mean, at what point should the coach get involved in that?
Well, we were actually, it's funny you say that. Again, ironically, I was in one of your tournaments. We were playing up. We were a 13U group last spring. We were playing up in a 14U tournament. And this team had 4 coaches out there, right? They had one guy sitting on the on-deck circle watching me because I do numbers, right, to my catcher. I'd be like 111 or something like that, right? And he knows what that sign is. He's got it on his wristband. He'd be watching me, and then he'd watch my catcher, and then he'd watch the pitch, right? And he's over there taking notes on it. Then they had the other guy watching just strictly the catcher where he was setting up, and so then they would tell him location. Then you had another guy kind of in the middle of the dugout, outside the dugout, right, watching my pitcher's elbows and starts yelling out pitches. And then they had another guy down the line, literally watching my kid's grip.
How many dang coaches
That's what that's what I started saying. So when you say when did the coaches get involved, it was about the second inning I started chirping. I started.
That's it. What I'm saying is like, would you do that as a coach? Would you
not a chance.
Steal signs?
Not a chance.
And I've seen a lot of coaches do it, and they say, "Oh, your catcher should have their signs better, or you should have better signs." Or maybe your kid should learn to hit better.
That's what I said. I literally yelled at the guy. I said, "You're a grown man. Let the kids play the game. It's the kids' game. Let them play." Like, why are you trying to?
What do you think about, Gabe? What do you think on that?
Man, it's
because I know there's 2 sides to it, right?
There's 2 sides. I mean, you got the teacher catcher how to hide the sign better.
Okay.
Because I ran into where the other team has a runner on second and he's picking up the catcher sign and we'll do like sorry, I don't have a camera on me today, but we'll like hold it up for a fastball
for sure, yeah,
or something.
And that might maybe a little bit different, right? Because that's a teammate doing it.
Yeah.
As opposed to the coach yelling.
I mean, no grown ass. Oh, excuse my language. No grown man should be yelling, "Hey, it's gonna be a fastball," and that goes for parents also. No parents from the crowd should be, "Hey, looks like it's gonna be a curveball."
Yeah.
You know, I've done it before. I was completely freaking wrong. All right, so not one, we're throwing out wrong things. 2, you're getting your player, your son or daughter, gearing up for a curveball, and here comes a fastball down the pipe.
Yeah.
And then you're mad at your player for like swinging and looking stupid, but then you're embarrassed because you yell fastball's coming or curveball. And but a grown ass coach should not be yelling signs. It's going to be biased. I might lose some followers or whatever, but if you're yelling signs and you have about 4 or 5 coaches down the line picking up 9, 10, 11, 12-year-olds signs, okay.
I don't understand what they're throwing. Shouldn't be throwing anything other than fastball and changeups at 9, 10, 11.
Well, I'm talking about even like 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And they've actually changed the thing on that too, right? They say curveball is actually better for your arm than throwing a high velocity fastball.
I don't know about that,
but they do. They all the scientific data on it says like velocity is worse on your elbow than if you're throwing a curveball the correct way.
I'm kind of biased by that,
Yeah.
but I kind of agree with you. I don't think a 12-year-old should be pumping in 80 or whatever they're doing from, what is it, 50?
Yeah, 12
Yeah.
50, yeah.
So I mean,
52.
you know, unless the mechanics is like spot on correct, but if he's just all upper body and just boom killing it, then that's gonna be bad for his arm.
100%.
Absolutely.
No, I mean, like I said, it's just, I think, for instance, like our high school boys, I like coaching the youth in the early spring, right, and then leading into the summer of the high school boys, because again, it's different brand of baseball, if you will. I mean, dude, like if you're 16, 17 years old and you're a catcher and you're playing high end showcase baseball and you're just putting down one sign and there's a guy on second base, like, you're not helping your pitcher out.
Again, we're going back to the player, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about the coach a little bit more. That's a little bit more different. And the thing is like 16, 17, 18, 19, people start policing themselves.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Oh,
so,
yes, they do.
hey, if somebody finds out you have a guy in your team who's throwing 85, 90 miles an hour, and he finds out someone's stealing his signs, he probably doesn't need a signal from the coach.
Yes.
Hey, let's just go run one up and on this guy, right?
Yeah.
He's probably coming at you,
Oh,
right?
sure.
Like, I mean, the second he finds out about it, he's probably like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
I got you. Like
No,
he doesn't
for
even
sure.
say anything. The team, the shortstop's probably laughing under his breath a little bit. Like, okay, bro, like we know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Let you come up again.
Yeah.
Because at some point,
You're
stuff
spot on
does start policing.
Oh, they do, and I think that, as they get older, right? Like as a coach, I'll never tell a kid to hit somebody, but as they get older, like they watch baseball, like they know, they know.
Like you
again,
said.
they police it themselves.
Yeah.
But as a grown, like we were all kind of discussing, like the grown adult, like the situation I experienced, like, I mean, it's crazy. It's
When
crazy.
you talk about like watching Major League Baseball, right? You see people hit. They'll a year later, they'll come after a guy like, hey, I haven't seen you in a year, but I'm coming after you. And it's been a year, and we can meet at the mound after that. They see that, but they, like you said, they see the big home run celebrations, and they see everything that happens at the Major League level. So that stuff comes into it too. The celebrations, the throwing at them. It doesn't necessarily need to hit them.
No.
I mean, you run one up and on them, they're like, huh.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want them comfortable in the box, I think, ultimately.
How about emotions too? Like, I see so many people getting on the kids about being emotional, when they're having a bad day on the field. And then we turn on the TV and Bryce Harper loses his mind on a strikeout or a check swing. How do you tell a 12-year-old, hey, you can't do that? And then he goes and watches a Major League guy do the exact same thing you just told him he can't do.
He did. Did you see that play?
Oh, dude.
He was like this far from like the strike. His barrel was still basically on his shoulder.
I think they dumped Angel Hernandez this week, didn't they?
Too. That guy's so bad for baseball.
I think they dumped him, didn't they?
So bad for baseball.
Yeah.
He did get fired?
Yeah.
He's so bad.
And he was like, wait till you see it on the replay, I think is what he said to him. So
that's crazy.
All right, guys, we got to wrap it up. Thanks, Coach Mikey, for coming in and talking with us. Let me leave this up here real quick.
Yeah, Mike, thanks for coming. Both you guys. I like I said, I look forward to this every week.
Yeah,
it's on Monday, and great time. Hey, keep smashing baseballs.
Yep.
Hey, today's podcast is sponsored by PPS, the only North Texas baseball and softball tournament provider that promotes kids. Player interviews, highlight videos, live streaming of games, and personalized photography to show off your athlete. PPS loves celebrating kids in every way. Players can gain exclusive memberships into our no and dinger clubs at every tournament. So register today at playpps.com/baseball. Again, if you have a play that you were wowed by, send it in to us for next week's top 5, and enjoy your week and come back and see us next Monday at 7:15.